Hello there. I'm wanting to see if you can hear me today. I'm also wanting to see who's listening. Won't be able to say hi a lot. I've got a lot to cover tonight, but I'm wanting to see. I'm using my headphones, and I tested it out. And okay, Becky, good. Can you hear me clear? No background sounds like loud sounds or ticking, tick, 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 ticking. And hi Stephanie, all me, and I miss you. But it won't be long, and I'll be coming to California and see you. Can you hear me good? That's my question. I'm waiting to see. Good. Oh, great. I got a headset on. Somebody gave me a tip, so I was able to still use my phone. And I'm excited about tonight's subject. And hi, Dawn. Good. Sounding good. 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 That's great. You know, I looked it up, and you would be shocked. Maybe you won't be. But of course, the American people are we are just major overeaters. You know, it's, they say by 2030, which is only 8 years away, that less than 8 years, because we're just a few months from 23, 1 out of every 2 people will be a diabetic. So it's hi. It's good to see you too. I know you guys miss me when I don't teach. I miss y'all too. And they say the average person, 1 out of every 2 person, will be a diabetic by the year 2030. I will be close. I'll be 78, which is the age my husband is now, and I'm really praying that I don't get it. And that means I have to have the character. Holly, man, I have to have the hi friend. I have to have the character to stay with the diet and help the clean lifestyle. So I'm going to get right started, and I'm using my verses tonight as Romans 12, 1 and 2. I beseech you therefore, brethren, and it always means sister, and also by the mercies of God, you present your body a living sacrifice. Now, folks, I'm talking about living food tonight. See, we have a tendency to eat too much dead food, meaning how long has it been in the package? How long has it been in the can? How long has it been? And so we want to make the food fresh, but we also want to eat some living food like salads, like fresh veggies in a dip. So he says in Romans 12, 1 and 2, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, present your body a living sacrifice, which is your holy, acceptable, and I'm not going to quote the rest of it. But the second verse says, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed. Now, I stick the word medical in there. Don't be conformed to this world's medical world or this world's diet. Don't be conformed, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And lately I've been starting my videos. I want you to think out of the box tonight. I want you to come out of your shell. And yes, we're still going to have traditions. I'm going to have a turkey breast. But I changed my Thanksgiving up about 30 years ago. And I am not sorry. I'm still alive, and I'm still helping people, which is what I want to do. I want to live for God as long as I can, because I want more rewards, and I want those rewards so I can get a crown, and I want to throw the crown at Jesus' feet. And so and here's the thing, folks, Christians, Baptists, good people are so sick, and they're getting cancer in their 40s and 50s, and we're having so many chronic fatigue, chronic disease, MS, lupus. And now when they don't know the disease, they make up a new name for it. And it all goes back to the standard American diet, SAD. So tonight, I want you to, number one, think of presenting your body a living sacrifice. I say this so often, we're full. Millions and millions of cells are doing all the work in our body. We have trillions, I don't know how many, quadzillion, so many millions of cells that are having to accomplish everything. And all of the work, all of our organs, all of our glands, our thyroids, which we have a lot of thyroid problems. I'm going to be talking about hormone imbalances sometime in the future. We have so much hormone imbalance because the food we eat is nutrient deficient. Then we don't have enough food to feed our glands and our organs, and so then those cells are deficient, and then they don't function, and then we don't have an organ that works right. So I'm seeing tons of people on here. This is awesome. Hi, Arlene Parker. I see Anna Wilson. I'm seeing all kinds of people. That's great. I could just take an hour and talk. You know what we're going to do? I am going to have a live where you can ask questions. I may even have a group. I haven't figured it all out yet. I'm getting a computer. It's on its way. One of my friends is giving me, it's an older computer, but I'm hoping that I can do an actual group discussion where you guys can get involved with me right on video. I'm hoping to do that, and along with my podcast. So our bodies are made up of living cells, and our cells are made in the bone marrow. You know, the Bible says pleasant words are as an honeycomb. They're sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Now, health to the bones is very important. We want fat bones. We don't want fat people, but we don't want fat bones. We want thick bones. We don't want thin bones. We want, because your bone marrow is where the cells come from. And the bone marrow produces the cells that also heal my body. Every cell has an assigned number of days to live. Is that not awesome? Our God is so awesome. And that reminds me, I need to pray. Father, I pray, Lord, you bring glory to yourself with this video. And Lord, you know that sometimes my mind, I just am so filled with so much stuff I like to tell people that I will wander. And I pray, Lord, keep me focused on this tonight. Help me, Father, give me wisdom, give me strength. You're our teacher, Lord. You can open the book to us. The book is full of answers about health. And I ask, God, that you just be with us and meet with us. Please help all the missionaries that are listening to me and the people out there that are my heroes, that are giving their lives over across the seas. I talked to somebody from Bolivia this week, somebody that's in Taiwan. And Lord, those folks are sacrificing and they leave our country. And I just pray that you bless them as they listen. And I pray you bless their bodies and their temples. In Jesus' name, amen. So, hey, Teresa Swanky. And so we have a living temple. This is where Jesus lives. This is a living body. And we therefore need to give it a lot of living food. I eat a lot of salads every day. I eat sometimes maybe 4 mornings a week. I'll eat salad for breakfast, or I'll have avocado bread with fresh avocado, and I smash the avocado and I put cayenne in it, lemon juice. It's delicious, and I put it on gluten-free bread. I would say I don't probably eat enough living, but the advice is from people who are really working on their health is 50% of your food to be living. Often we'll just have a beautiful big apple with almond butter and nuts for breakfast. Or we will have, we do eat bacon and eggs. It's all hormone free. We will eat bacon and eggs. But we are trying to get in a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits. The average American eats 1.5 cups of vegetables a day, which is why they're not getting minerals, they're not getting calcium, they're not getting potassium. And we have fatigue and we have depression because we don't have all of our nutrients, magnesium, boron, selenium. There's just so many things that we don't get. So let's talk about Thanksgiving. I sat down and I wrote down, this is the average, by the way, the average Thanksgiving meal is 3,000 to 4,500 calories. And that's just the meal. That's not the grazing that goes on all day. And so I listed this. These are all the carbs and the sugar. The turkey, of course, is a protein. So then you've got mashed potatoes and gravy. That's a carb. And we're just talking if you have a little bit. We're not even talking about if you double it up. And I'm just hanging there, yeah. And so mashed potatoes. That's mashed potatoes and gravy is 2 carbs. Then you've got corn. Everybody has corn, most people. Dressing. Then you've got sweet potatoes. Then you've got, and I'm not even talking about the dairy and the butter and all that stuff now. And then you've got cranberry sauce. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you go to the pies, ice cream, and soda, 7, 8, 9. So you're averaging about 7 to 10 carbs per Thanksgiving meal. Now, I didn't include butter. I didn't include, I'm not talking about calories tonight. I'm talking about how to make it healthier. I began adding, now, and one of the main things is when you look at a meal, I like color in my meal. I like red peppers. I like color, okay? And so here we go. We look at the meal. It's brown, it's beige turkey, or it's ham. Some people have ham. It's beige turkey, it's white potatoes, it's yellow corn, it's beige dressing, it's sweet potatoes are brownish, cranberry sauce, that does give a little color. Green bean casserole, by the time you put all the stuff in it, garbage in it, it's sort of beigey, barely. There's no bright green there. So I always immediately, anywhere I go to any party, and here at home, I always add a salad. It may be a side salad. It may just be plain lettuce. It may be a spinach salad. It may be a side of cucumbers in vinegar dressing. But there's always green in every meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If I have a lunch protein plate that say it's got a slice of organic meat and a boiled egg and some carrots and some hummus, I have a big pile of greens. I brought you, this is not a good example, but there are different lettuces, okay? There are different lettuces, and this is one of them. This is a butter lettuce. And for those of you that don't like greens or you're not into greens, now I took on greens really big. I've always loved vegetables. I grew up in a home where we had our own garden, and so I had lots of vegetables. That hasn't been a problem for me. My problem was a sugar addiction, which you will if you eat the traditional sugar and you start with Halloween and you just go through the whole season, the candy, the cookies, the pop, the pies, that sugar puts us on an addiction. So I would say my sugar addiction was really bad till I hit age 40. But along with that, I would go out to eat, but I would have like roast chicken and maybe a baked potato and have a huge salad. I've always loved salads. This is butter lettuce, and it comes, see the bottom? It comes in a big leafy head. I got this actually at Walmart. And I am able to get this at Walmart. I'm able to get it at Costco, and Costco really has a good price on it. But it's a huge, big, leafy head, organic, and the lettuce is real soft and tender, and it's real mild. It's not bitter. Now these greens, these are my spring greens, okay? And these greens go better. These greens go better with some fruit. Like I make a pear walnut salad with these greens, and I use a dressing that's like an olive oil and a balsamic vinegar. By the way, I will be posting from now until Thanksgiving. If you'll pay attention to my page, I'm going to put on my desserts. I'm going to put on my cranberry salad. I'm going to put all my recipes on. I'm going to show you what I do. And so the greens, see these greens have red in there. This is radicchio, okay? This is radicchio, which is a type of lettuce. So these greens are these are called spring greens or spring mix. Organic and purchased for $3.50 at Costco. Big thing of them. It's 16 ounces, a whole pound. Then here's my spinach that I get. Spinach. And spinach is really good for you, and it's a dark green. And so I want you to know there's like 30 types of greens. They have chlorophyll in them. Chlorophyll is really awesome. It is a, what do you want to call it? It is it destroys free radicals. It's an antioxidant. So greens are really important. Kale isn't important, but any kind of green. So first of all, add a salad to the Thanksgiving meal. I've actually had people tell me, they say, Carol, why fill up on salad if you're going to have all this other food? But it's all cooked. And cooked food, you only get about 25 to 30% of the nutrition. Cooked equals dead. It's not living. Now, we have to have it because life is really boring without some cooked food. But we have to have living food to help our ends and help with our digestion. And by the way, most people over 50 are not digesting their food well, and that's why there's gas and bloating and constipation and all those other problems that I'm not going to go into, and of course parasites. But I will say this: if you eat a living salad and I eat my salad first, living salad, or I eat it to the side. I'll have some turkey and some salad, but I almost always have a salad. When you eat that green has living enzymes, which helps the food that's cooked digest. So that's what we need to add. So the first thing is to add green, okay? This is what I do with my husband, and we are both people who are borderline diabetics. We aren't, because I think if we were doing all the standard American food, we would be diabetics, but we're not. And so, but we're on the border. And so I say choose what are your two favorite carbs, Richard? And at the most three, but I say two. What are your two? Now I'm not including dessert right now. I'm talking two carbs. And usually he likes sweet potatoes and dressing. And so never use corn. And by the way, folks, all your corn, I'm sad to say, which I used to love corn, is genetically modified. And I probably eat it once a year because I'm on an antifungal diet. And by the way, I wanted to say this. I know there's people here that are in all kinds of different level of their health journey. Some people are on diabetic diets. Some people are on antifungal. Some people are vegans. They don't eat meat. Some people are on keto. My relatives down in Florida do a healthy keto, but they're amazing. They're 80 years old, and my brother-in-law, Stephen Tudor, I don't think he's listening tonight, but he'll probably do the replay. But I talked to his wife today, my sister-in-law Beth. She's a nurse. I got some ideas from her about a cherry cheesecake, a healthy cherry cheesecake, and I asked her about her sweeteners, and they went off sugar and all sugars, even maple syrup. They went off all of it like 6 years ago, and they're just so healthy. And she does stretching and yoga. He is actually doing. He has a chiropractor, and when I say lifting weights, I'm talking about strength training for an 80-year-old, but he doesn't look 80. My husband, in spite of some of his health issues, does not look or act 80. He can mow lawns, he can bowl, and he's 14 months from 80. And all of this because they're not eating the processed / junk food / fast food / sugar. Sugar is probably one of the deadliest things, and I truly believe it's a trick of the devil. I really believe he's blinded us to all the damage that is done to our bodies. One Starbucks large drink has enough sugar in it to put your immune system down for like 2 days, 48 hours. And that's not all the other foods. So now this is what we do. You don't have to do this. But we don't. No, corn's automatically out. I don't even eat corn because it's very fungal. It's very genetically modified, meaning it's been sitting in these silos, getting moldy, and that mold is causing people to have fungus in their body. If you've ever heard of candida, candida and fungal problems are rampant, and people don't know how to diagnose them. Most doctors don't. It's also a precancerous condition. So I go to basically 2 and at the very max 3 carbs. And my third carb might be English peas, which is a green vegetable. So we would probably do sweet potatoes. And by the way, we bake them. We put butter, organic butter, and we put cinnamon. And I might use a little stevia, but we don't load it up with marshmallows and brown sugar. We don't put all that on it because sweet potatoes are sweet. And by the way, they're one of the healthiest things you can eat. But by the time we destroy them, they're not healthy anymore because we pour on all this marshmallow and this brown sugar and all this. By the way, sugar works in the brain in the same location that cocaine does. Sugar is addictive, very addictive. And somebody asked me, how'd you get off of it? I said, I went cold turkey when I got mono and when I was sick. But I have sometimes cheated, of course. I have sometimes been on a trip and gotten some, and so I always leave that out. But if you want that to be one of your starches, but sit down and think through now. And I like to do what my husband wants, so I always let him pick. So add a salad, number one, and it can be a spinach salad. You can put bacon and eggs in it. It could be just a regular side garden salad. It could be with an avocado and cucumbers, tomatoes, and I get the shredded carrots already shredded in a bag, very easy. I'm very into making life easy. And so then, cranberry walnut salad, you can make it healthy. It's delicious. When I was a little girl and through my teenage years, we had a grinder that we bolted to the table. That was my job. I got to put the fresh cranberries through there. I love to hear them pop. Oranges, I think walnuts. I think there was other citrus in there. I don't know all the ingredients, but I will post my my sauce recipe. I have a couple of them. I have an easier one and one that takes a little bit longer. And by the way, because we are all so busy and we all are very involved, we need to have things that are easier. I mean, and especially those of you that are in the ministry or those of you that are have raising children, you need, but you know what? Your kids need to learn how to make this stuff. Get them in the kitchen. My granddaughter, I have an adopted granddaughter, Hannah Turner. She's the sweetest thing. She knows how to make brownies, healthy brownies. She knows how to make pumpkin cake. She's only 6, and I've cooked with her several times and made things with her. So crabberry walnut salad, and then there's another thing you can do. You know, they make those vegetables into a shape like a turkey, and that's so neat. And you can actually get a big tray and design it. I'll put it on my post, and you can make a big turkey, and it's all raw veggies. That is a great idea. And there are many types of dips you can do. I like French onion, but I try to do a dairy-free dip just because I don't do well with dairy. Talking about desserts, let me tell you my sweeteners. Okay, these are my sugar-free. I just show you the bag, but I'll put it on here. They're sugar-free. I get sugar-free chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips from Walmart and or Costco. I use stevia, and it's a quality stevia. Some stevias have an aftertaste. This is a monk fruit erythritol. It's a blend of, and those are both plant. Monk fruit's a plant. And in fact, monk fruit is the same type of consistency as granulated sugar. I have friends who make what's the word I want? The Southern tea, and they love the monk fruit in there. It tastes just like real Southern tea, and it's granulated. Now, if you need something liquid for a sweetener, I have a almond flour cookie recipe, that I use maple syrup. And I cut the maple syrup in half just because my husband and I, again, we don't want to have a lot of sugar in our bodies. But for people who are not sick, not chronically ill, aren't diabetic, organic maple syrup is an alternative. And again, I'm talking to different people at different levels. You know, once you've had cancer, you need to eliminate every single, no maple syrup, no honey, nothing like that while you're treating your cancer. So raw honey is very excellent, and the Bible talks about it. It's interesting. There's a lot in the Bible, and I love cucumbers. I love leeks. If you took all the foods that the Jews ate and all the foods they didn't eat, they're very healthy. And, people like raw meat. They like their steak rare. Well, the Bible says don't eat things with the blood. Don't even look at the blood. That's not healthy. And so you go through the Bible and read through the Old Testament. I'm not saying you have to go by the law. That's not what I'm talking about. But the Bible actually talks about Bible bread. But the Bible bread has lentils in it. It's got lentils which have protein. It's Ezekiel 4:9. It says, take the fitches, and the Bible bread back then was very full of fiber. It wasn't the processed wheat that we have now. So let's talk about rolls. Okay, you can make rolls out of all kinds of different non-gluten-free, non-wheat. Folks, the wheat of today is deadly. And I believe someday they'll prove that it's very cancer, but it's very deadly. Glyphosate, it's got pesticides, it's got herbicides, it's been highly processed. But you can find ancient grain wheat. Those of you that live up in Indiana, you need to go to Alana Lemon. That girl knows how to bake. She makes the most beautiful sourdough bread, beautiful big loaves. She makes sourdough pizza crust. She makes sourdough, I believe, cinnamon rolls. And by the way, sourdough is the healthiest bread because if you get the gluten-free ancient grain wheat. You can use kamut, which you can buy at Costco. And I would get a hold of Alana Lemon, and I'd say, can I come over for a day and teach me? I mean, yeah, I think she'd do it. But sourdough has supposed to only have 3 ingredients: unbleached organic flour, gluten-free flour, salt, and water. And you can make your own starter. And you can go on YouTube and just Google until you find the recipe that'll work. Now, I'm not as good at that at this age, but some of you folks are the age where you could do that. Hi, Beth, and she's saying she's trying to stop sugar. Yeah, sugar addiction is really hard to break. To me, it's like a drug. It truly is. And so your sourdough bread, you can purchase it at Hy-Vee here in our state. I don't know what, but I know that a lot of the restaurants, like the San Francisco Bread Company, will carry it. But sourdough bread and sourdough rolls are the healthiest because you got no yeast and you've got no sugar. And again, it's a carb. You still have to be careful, but you've got that. Now, different sweeteners. There's a Swerve, Swerve. I will put a picture. There is Pure. There's actually a form of sweetener for all the different types. Like there's a confectioner that I don't know if that's the Pure or the Swerve, but there's a lot of different sweeteners now. And I'm not talking about Splenda or NutraSweet. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about plant sweeteners. Let me say a minute about the alcohol sweeteners. There's a thing called maltitol, erythritol, xylitol. There are people that these cause bowel reactions. I can't use the maltitol at all. I wish I could because there's nice candy that they make and it's healthy, but it's got the maltitol, and so I'm not able to use that. The xylitol is a more mild. It's a plant, but it does can affect the colon, so you have to be careful with those. But somebody asked me, how did you get off sugar? Well, one thing I did was I found some sugar-free dark chocolate that I could tolerate. I found I used maple syrup for a while till I could get off it. I found my combination of Truvia. I like Truvia, which is stevia and another sweetener, and I kept taste testing. You can try them at Whole Foods. In our state, it's Mama Jean's health food store, health food grocery store, which is different than just a health food store. You can try out. You can look online. There's just a lot out there available, more than ever. 20 years ago, a lot of this stuff wasn't available. There's a company, two sisters called Trim Healthy Mama, Trim Healthy Mamas. And they're two sisters, they're Christians, and quite interesting. And they have several, they homeschool, they have one of them has 10 kids, I think, and some are adopted. They're very involved in their children's lives, and they're very involved in food, raising children, and following the Lord. Well, they decided years ago they would see all these women have babies and the women could not get their weight off. So these two sisters got together, Pearl and Serena. They got together and they started experimenting in their own kitchens with different recipes. Now they have a system, and I'm telling you this because they have some delicious desserts. They have a dessert called Cry No More Brownies, and it's got okra in it. And it's hidden in it. You take a food processor and put okra, and you use cocoa. And there's actually this is a healthy organic cacao powder, and it's much better than Hershey's chocolate in the can. And so you can get and there's Anthony's cocoa powder organic. You can get that off of Amazon. And so these two sisters experimented for several years, baking, cooking, putting combinations together. And they use konjac flour, which is from Japan and is a protein. It's a root, konjac root, Konjoc, I think. I don't know if that's right. But anyway, you can Google Trim Healthy Mama. Trim Healthy Mama has baking blend. It has sweeteners, and the recipes are online. They have a delicious zucchini chocolate cake. You'd never know it has zucchini in it. You'd never know it was a sweetener. I made it, and I put the chocolate icing with it, and it's not from a can. I made a cake the other day for some people in the ministry that it was some of the boys here on the ranch. I used a cake. I did the can of icing, and I did the cake mix. It was so I just of course I want everything to be from scratch, and so I just did that they requested me to help out, so I did that quickly, and I didn't know if they'd like my health food cake, but my chocolate zucchini cake, it's just as good as if you were at a fancy restaurant. So you've got the Trim Healthy Mama sisters. By the way, they have 3 cookbooks, and they cook foods. They help you balance out for hormone imbalancing, which is really big. Sadly, so much of us, of course, most men, they gain it in the belly. They have the big bellies. But so many women, we gain it in the hips, we gain it in the chest. Excessive. I mean, I know you've seen folks like that. It just breaks my heart. And that is because these hormone disruptors and all these chemicals and all these things that we eat and do, they go and they make us gain weight in the hormonal areas of our body. And then it's very difficult because as you gain weight and your fat produces other hormones. Leptin is a hormone that controls your hunger. And so then these bad hormones like xenoestrogen and the good estrogen gets out of balance. And once you're out of balance, then it's going to take going to a doctor, more than likely a naturopathic doctor or a hormonal clinic to get balanced out. So and of course, people don't realize it, but you can be very overweight with parasites, and most people won't believe me on that. I'm getting ready to do another one of my talks. I love to go to, I'm pretty eccentric. I know you know that, and you're allowed to laugh. I like to talk to people at church about parasites and Lyme. And, it's amazing. Not everybody wants to talk about that. But it's so interesting to me, this whole medical field that I'm in right now. And it's so linked to our food and excessive sugar cravings and pasta cravings, donut, pastas, cookies, that can be very driven by parasites. So when we're out of balance, we're going to want and crave the wrong things. Okay, this lady says she uses sweet leaf stevia sweet drops. Oh, good. And she found it in Mennonite. By the way, those of you that are by Amish and Mennonite stores, you can find a lot of good things. Read the labels, and find out what's in there. Okay, I talked about greens. I talked about sweets. Now, I don't think it's bad to have two choices for dessert, like, say, pumpkin pie, something chocolate. I don't think that's horrible. But I wouldn't have four or five. And I wouldn't have pop. I would have either herbal tea or lemonade. Soda pop, take diet, it's got NutraSweet, which is damaging to the nerves in the brain. Coke, zero. All of your pops that have the sweeteners in them, they're very damaging to the nervous system. Your NutraSweet, Splenda is one of the worst. Splenda is precancerous chemical. They're all chemicals. Equal. I used to use Equal all the time. In my 20s and 30s, that's all I used. All of those are a combination of different chemicals processed, which hurt the body. They're not going to help a living cell body. So you want to get rid of those. And pop has phosphorus in it. And phosphorus is very bad for the bones. I was a Diet Coke fan. In fact, I would say probably, 20 years, probably 25 to probably, or maybe 15 years. It was nothing for me to have 5 or 6 Diet Cokes a day. Well, that's NutraSweet. That's caramel dye, caramel coloring, which can cause cancer. Then you got phosphorus, which thins the bones. I actually had Dr. Cal one time. I took a student to him, and he looked at her labs, and he had some tests run, and he said, "You're a pop drinker, aren't you?" And she said, "How'd you know that?" And he showed her on her labs which things were out of balance that showed that she was a pop drinker. Folks, you are what you eat and digest. So everything. Perrier water, that's a great idea. You can do some of that. But your best bet is to just stick with water and vegetables, adding those. Remember what Daniel did. Daniel was only 16. And I want to say this. I'm going to end on a spiritual note. And I'm going to show you a couple more things. But I wanted to say, you can do this. You can make a step in the right direction. You can go to your husband and you can say, "Sweetheart, I'd like to make us would you give me permission to make a healthier Thanksgiving for all of us?" I guarantee you, folks, my phone lights up every day with a new person diagnosed with cancer and they want help. Or they don't have any energy, or they've got a hormone imbalance, or they can't lose weight. Everyone's got something. I rarely run into healthy people. And of course, they're calling me because they want my help. And so it's going to be you next if you're not replacing the dead foods, the processed foods, the chemical foods with living foods. The average person eats 1.5 cups of vegetables a day. We're supposed to have 7 cups of vegetables, 5 to 7 cups of vegetables. We are so far from that. I eat greens or an avocado with my scrambled eggs in the morning. I eat a big handful. I will eat lettuce wraps for lunch. I'll wrap whatever I'm eating, protein, my meat, I'll wrap that in lettuce wraps, baby carrots, and hummus. Then supper, I have a big salad, and I sometimes will just steam 4 vegetables. Like we just ate tonight. We ate steamed carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, and little tiny Yukon Gold potato. That one little tiny one because I'm watching the carbs. Gave my husband a little bit more, but you've got to start adding in the vegetables. And of course, I really pray for these kids that don't know how to like vegetables because their moms don't feed it to them. Their moms don't make them eat it. I got to tell you a funny story. My brother did not like green beans. And so we were sitting at the table one night. I guess he was about maybe 6, and I was 3 years older than him. I was 9. And my mom and dad said, you are not getting down from the table till you finish your green beans. Well, he hit them all in his cheeks. He hit them all. So then he went to the bedroom and he spit them under the bed. And of course he paid for that. And so we laughed about that all the time because he got spanked because he wouldn't eat his green beans. But you know what? Parents won't teach their kids to eat veggies. There is not a veg. You haven't made a veggie that I won't eat. I love rutabagas. I love beets. I love vegetables. And I have a great salad for your liver that's made from beets and carrots and olive oil and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Delicious. And you shred it, and beets are one of the most wonderful things for your liver. But people don't eat them. I actually go to my Amish country store and get organic pickled beets because we love them so much. We eat sauerkraut. I get a bag of sauerkraut homemade at the health food grocery store. And you can make your own, but I get it there for very inexpensive, and I make it. It's a side with our supper. So add your salad, limit your carbs, do only your favorites and fix them clean. Don't add a bunch of garbage to them. And then start thinking about what desserts you want to make. And I will post I have a pumpkin chocolate chip pumpkin loaf bread. I have a pumpkin almond flour pumpkin coffee cake. I will post that. I've got several of those. I would like to learn myself how to make a pumpkin pie a little bit better than I do because I don't use of course, the condensed milk. But I do use organic Amish butter. I use organic eggs. I use my milk is either almond or cashew milk. I love cashew milk. You can go to Aldi's and get delicious macadamia / cashew / coconut milk. You can get any of the milks. Just make sure there's no sugar in them. Some people like the oat milk. I don't do it because it's more carbs. I stick with the nuts. And so I use my organic eggs. I use my organic butter. My coffee cake that I make, the top of it is like 2 tablespoons of almond flour mixed with organic butter, cinnamon, and a bunch of crushed almonds and my sugar-free chocolate chips, and then I put that on top. It is delicious. I took it to a potluck and people ate it, and I didn't tell them it was healthy, and they loved it because if I told them it was healthy, they probably wouldn't have eaten it. So there are ways to do it. Now, and let me tell you, you can learn it. You can do this. Back to Daniel. Daniel was 16 years old. Now, folks, we're still trying to eat like little kids. Candy, cookies. I can't believe the number of people that stuff candy bars in every day. Folks, that isn't food. That is going to kill you. And Google the 75 dangers of sugar and look it up. And so Daniel said, okay, they came to Daniel. They said, we want you to eat this meat. We want you to drink this wine. This is what we want you to do because you've got to get. And Daniel, by the way, was an excellent person. He was already a strong young man. So Daniel said, look, he talked his guard into saying, would you let me run a test to see if we will be stronger not eating the king's meat? And he said, Daniel purposed in his heart. Now, folks, make a decision. Just decide, I am going to change yes, I will share my pumpkin pie recipe, Lisa. I make a decision, I am going to change. And ask God, in faith, ask God to help you. So here's a 16-year-old Daniel. He's my favorite. I love it. You can read the book in 1 hour, 12 chapters. He said, I'm on a purpose in my heart not to defile myself with the king's meat and the king's wine. And they said, give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Well, pulse in the Bible is vegetables. So they went on 10 days of vegetables and water. And at the end of 10 days, they looked better That was Daniel and his buddies, 3 buddies. They all were fairer and fatter, not fat like fat. They had a blossom. They had fullness to their body, fat bones. And the guard said, wow, you guys look great. I'm going to do this for all of these Jewish boys. So, I made a decision in faith when I was 44, 43, in my 40s. It's been almost 30 years. I said, okay, Lord, I'm done with traditional medicine. I'm done with flu shots. I'm done with antibiotics. I am going to change my diet. And I changed it. Now, I was really sick and I had no energy. And I began juicing, and I bought a juicer, and I went to the farmer's market, and I was still working at Hyles Anderson. I had a very small salary. I just went and got what I could get at the farmer's market. And I still do that. I found my Amish markets here. I go to my Amish markets and see what I can get. I go to the farmer's markets, which are open they're open here through November. And then I go to Costco and I get everything I can get there that's either gluten-free or organic. They sell a lot of organic salad kits. They sell my almond flour tortillas there, siete tortillas. I get a big pack of them. Last week I actually made quesadillas that were delicious. And everything was either organic or all natural or chemical-free, gluten-free, corn-free. And I made my husband ate four of them. And I learned how to fold them, cook them folded so they cook really easy. And I had fresh chicken in there and green onions. And I didn't even have any cheese. I didn't need cheese. I actually put a little mayonnaise on the shell. And then I filled it and folded it and cooked it in coconut oil. And then made my own pico. I had my own salsa that I made fresh from the last of the tomatoes. And then we had a big side of greens. We had a side of pico. We had a side of avocado. And it was delicious. And I have adapted my version of Mexican. I have Carol Tudor's Cracker Barrel. I have adapted that. And you'd be shocked. Go buy yourself just 1 pound of organic dry beans. Go to your health food grocery store, wherever it is. There's Sprouts, there's Whole Foods, there's Mama Jean's here throughout Missouri and the South. Get yourself 1 pound of either black beans or pinto beans, soak them for a day and a night, and then the next day cook them in a crock pot, throw in an onion, salt and pepper. You'd be shocked. Number one, they last longer than beans because than the ones that have pesticides. Much better taste because you don't have the pesticides, you don't have the chemicals, you don't have the stuff in the can. Do I use canned beans? Sometimes I do. Sometimes if I'm in revival, if I'm busy, I'm going to have a backup. But I do buy the organic and I do buy the BP free without the plastic in the line of the can. And so there are ways, and you folks, I promise you, if a 16-year-old Jewish kid in captivity can do it, you can do it. We are so spoiled in America. We have so many things here. We have everything here. It's just amazing. I mean, we have markets. We have health food stores. We have Costco. We have Sam's has great. I can get organic spices at Sam's that I can't even get at Costco. And you say, well, are you a member of both? Well, yeah, I am right now. And it's worth it. I make the money back that fast. And am I doing that on my Social Security? Yes, I am. But we don't have any debts. We're debt free because we determined we were going to put our money into our health and into our bodies. My husband taught Sunday school. He's going to be 79 years old in just a few weeks. And he taught Sunday school. He taught one of the most beautiful lessons I've ever heard in my life. Behold the Lamb of God who taketh away the sins of the world. And he traced the Lamb from Genesis all the way to Revelation. And he taught this in Sunday school. A couple men came up to him and said, we've never had a Bible teacher like you. And I have this dream that he can keep teaching until he goes to heaven. But, it takes changing your lifestyle. He gets on a treadmill. He rakes leaves. Do we have some bad nights? Yep. Last night he had an asthma attack. We have no idea why. It might have been the moldy leaves. And we have issues he's a Vietnam vet. He was exposed to all kinds of stuff over there. Not Agent Orange, but he's got other issues. And so we just keep trying different supplements that'll help us. We go get a scan. We get our naturopathic doctor to check us out, and then we change it. And so you can do it, folks. Now let me show you. There's actually tapioca flour, which is gluten-free, and it is used for certain types of things. There's almond flour, coconut flour, tapioca flour. There's ancient grain kamut, K-A-M-U-T. You can get that at Costco. There are ancient grains, flours that are not full of all the gluten, the pesticides. There are recipes that you can find. And by the way, go back to Trim Healthy Mama. Those two sisters have written 3 books. They've helped a bunch of women lose weight. It's not always an easy system. I mostly pull from their desserts and use their desserts, but my sister-in-law uses a lot. My sister-in-law and my brother-in-law are not overweight. They're trim. They're 80 years old. They just had a whole yard full of fall decorations they took down. They're very active. They do a lot of work. They both exercise, and they eat this way. And they probably don't do as many vegetables as I do, but they do a healthy keto. And they do the desserts that are sugar-free. They don't touch sugar. They don't do maple syrup. They don't even do honey or anything like that. And so you can do that. And now, I am not the type to take and just make up my own recipe. I have to have a recipe. There is a Tina Murkowski. You might want to look at her. She's on Facebook, and she has a group called Clean Eats. You might want to go there and request. She makes the most delicious desserts. Now, they've got a lot of steps. For example, she will take cashews and soak them. Then she'll grind them up, and then she'll make a caramel sauce out of all this natural stuff. She makes these cashew brownies. She makes lemon, oh my goodness. She makes these lemon blueberry bars and lemon blueberry muffins. I mean, but she's like one of these free spirits who can just put things together and experiment and make up recipes. I have to have the recipe. I have to have the recipe in front of me, and I have to follow it. That's just who I am. And now, I'm more of a free thinker when it comes to nursing things. So take a look at Trim Healthy Mama. You can Google it. It's right online. You've got that. You've got a whole library in your hand on your phone. And this is what I do. I spend my time studying so that I can help you and guide you. Let's see if there's anything else on my table that I wanted to tell you about. I think I've got it all. I got to tell you this, unexpected miracles are occurring in my life all the time. Okay, so now I've got my website up. I finally wrote the paragraph to introduce myself. I have one person who's getting all my videos of 3 years. There's probably over 100 of them, and they're gathering them all, so they're going to go on my website. I'm going to start podcasts sometime in the next 3-6 months. It depends. Loretta Walker's on her way home. I'm hoping she's going to help me. I'm going to be able to give you all an access to a link where you can get wholesale vitamins that are quality. See, there's a lot out there that's not quality. So you've got to have a recommendation. So all these years when I've recommended, like I used to use Puritan Primal, I gave them up because there's a lot of fillers. And, so you pay what you get for. You get what you pay for. But my website we're in the background, we're working on it. I have an appointment tomorrow. But the Lord just keeps taking care of my husband and I, and through this medical ministry. And I just get to talk to so many missionaries and help them with their health, and I love it. 4 months ago, August, September, October, 3 months ago, we were laid off because we're in a transition here at the boarding school. We're going from a boarding school to group homes. It's a requirement by the state. I'm not going to get into all of it, but we've had some major changes. And here in Missouri, we have a lot of religious homes. And when I say religious, they're founded on the Bible, and we follow that. The state hasn't always liked that we don't do things the way they want. And we really want to do it that way. We try to do everything they want, except we do put the Bible in, and we do have some standards. So we have now gone to group homes here on the ranch, and we don't know yet where our new job's going to be, but we're on hold. God's taking care of us. And this week somebody donated. They sent me a check for $500. And I have this bracelet on. I'm going to put my phone down now, and I've got this bracelet on. And it's a tree. It's a Jewish tree of life. There it is. And there it is. There you go. And on the other side, it says unexpected miracles. And I just been asking God to I just want to keep reaching out and helping people. I would have never started a ministry like this, but the Lord did it. And Mrs. Trieber called me and asked me, and she did it. And now I'm getting to help so many different people, and it's just a blessing. I love my sisters and brothers in Christ. Folks, if I don't take care of my temple, I'm not going to have a ministry. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. I don't want to be in a nursing home. Now, if I end up there after everything I've done, well, then I'll know that that's where the Lord wants me to glorify him. But I think you join me. So many of you are Christians. So many of you are in the same boat where you don't have the energy, or you don't have the health, or you can't lose weight, or you've been diagnosed with some off-the-wall syndrome that they've made up now, and they're making them up all the time. They don't know what to do. And you realize now, because the Lord has given Satan a long leash, and because we're going towards end times closer than we ever have before, we have a medical system that's very broken, and you're not going to get answers, or you're going to get drugs, and that's all you're going to get. Or they're going to cut out your organs. Cut your tonsils out like they did me. Cut my appendix out. They're going to cut your uterus out. They're going to cut your gallbladder out. And let me tell you, there's side effects to all of that. Wouldn't it be better just to wean yourself off of some of the chemically induced foods that are available, and go to more natural foods? And yes, it takes a little bit more work. I will say that it does take work, and it takes work. It takes balance in the budget, but that's what you can do it. And so I just believe that we're in a spiritual warfare with our temples. I believe the devil wants us sick. I believe he wants every Christian to not function at their full capacity. Therefore, he has brought in all of these things and allowed our leaders, our government, to make our foods toxic, to use glyphosate. Glyphosate's very bad. If you watch I don't watch much TV, but I do watch Wheel of Fortune, and I will look at Jeopardy. I love trivia, but you'll see the advertisements, and you'll see now they're wanting people who've been exposed to these glyphosates, which can cause Parkinson's. Glyphosate, Roundup, all these pesticides. They're having lawsuits for it, and it's one after another. And so you have a chance to heal your body with living food. Food is your first line of defense. Now, folks, let's not go the whole month of November eating Halloween candy. Then we go to eat 5,000 calories on Thanksgiving or more. And I didn't put potato chips or dip in there. And by the way, I do love chips. And so I usually buy avocado oil organic chips if I have them. But I don't know that I would add them to Thanksgiving, but I do love a turkey sandwich on Thursday night. But my turkey sandwich has lettuce, tomato, and onion, and it's open face, so I don't need as much bread. There's a way to do it all. See, the devil wants you to think, well, you're not going to make it without your foods that you're hooked on. And by the way, I think I have had a stronghold, a demonic stronghold about sugar. I do. I believe it with all my heart. And I believe what sin took Adam and Eve immediately out of a perfect body. What was it? So eating a fruit. We'd say an apple, but eating a fruit. She touched the tree she wasn't supposed to touch. What happened to Jesus when he started his ministry at age 30? What is the first thing the devil tempted him with? Change these stones into bread, and I will give you power. And I believe food is a very strong, strong thing that the Lord, I believe, and look at folks, we're going to eat in heaven. The Bible says every leaf of the field was given to you as medicine. And we're going to have the marriage of the Lamb. We're going to have the marriage dinner, the marriage supper of the Lamb. And the 12 trees, fruit trees, are going to be by the crystal river in heaven. Food is it's immensely powerful. So I think this is a spiritual warfare. So let's determine we're going to, on purpose, not defile our bodies this next 4 months, November, December, January. And then we think, oh, I'm sick with the flu. No, we have poisoned our bodies, and therefore we have no immune system, or our immune system is very weak, and then we succumb. And folks, now we've got these man-made nasty viruses like the COVID, which by the way, sugar is terrible for that, and being overweight is terrible for that. And so let's determine we're just going to I want to be a light to you folks. I want to be a light to the world. I don't want to be sitting there passed out on sugar and pop and candy and cookies. I want to be a light. And so this is my burden. This is my desire. This is my heart. I will be posting things. I'm going to take a picture of all this stuff and put it on. I go between, my stores. I go between Walmart, Aldi's, Costco, Sam's, and Amazon. I depending on the time of the month, what the budget is, that's where I go. And of course, farmers markets, and always farmers markets. And this year I grew my own jalapeno peppers. I grew my own herbs. I grew my own tomatoes. And so I missed my okra. That I didn't get that this year. And so folks, I love y'all. I'd love to hear from you. I think it's awesome when people click on my page, and I am dedicated to doing this, and the Lord has provided help. Angie Zachary's bringing me a computer, and she got it all fixed up for me. It's an older Apple, but she's bringing me a computer, and I've succumbed to the technology world, and I'm such an old school person. I didn't even touch a computer till I was 60. So God bless you, and listen, purpose in your heart that you're going to have a healthy Thanksgiving. Add the greens. The greens are where it's at, and find a way to, there's nothing better than a spring green, fresh, ripe pear, walnuts, red onion, pomegranate seeds, and a little bit of goat cheese. Oh my goodness, that salad, I could eat that and be happy. I don't need any other food. But, if you're just throwing some head lettuce on a plate, no, of course not. And so, yes, greens are where it's at. I want to see it. I'm hoping some of you will, maybe I'll have a contest and you can take a picture of your table. And instead of it all being brown and white, there'll be some green there, or some red peppers, or there'll be a raw veggie platter. And so I'm really challenging you. I want you to just determine you can be like a 16-year-old young man, Daniel. He said, I want Daniel, read Daniel 1, 8-16. He purposed in his heart. That's what it's going to take, folks. Dedicate your temple, your living temple. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, you present your body a living sacrifice. God bless you. I love y'all. Consider monthly supporting me. I have 3 ladies that are supporting me $25 a month. It could be even if you did it 6 months. That's another way I can help the missionaries that are overseas and give them this education and help them with their vitamins. God bless you. And my website is tutorwithcarol.com. Bye-bye. See you next week.